Okay, so welcome everyone. So this is Ajarn Eddie here. So I'm a lecturer at Ranksit University International College. And so today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about Trumpism, which has to deal with, I guess, my fearless former leader, Donald Trump. And so I just want to let everyone know I'm going to try to be as impartial as I can here. Although for disclaimer, I am a registered Democrat. I have never voted for Trump. Actually, I've never voted for a Republican before. But I'm going to explain what Trumpism is and where it came from, and we'll discuss a little bit about the possible future for Trumpism, since he's already left office and he is going through. I guess they're about finishing up the his second impeachment. So he's the first and only president to be impeached twice. But yeah, we'll talk about that more in detail. So for today's agenda, what we're going to talk about the background on Donald Trump, the 2016 presidential election, what is Trumpism, the origins of Trumpism, which they're kind of related. What is Trumpism and the origins, and then the future of Trumpism. Okay, so I love this picture. Okay, but today what we're going to talk about is background on Donald Trump. Now, actually, just to let everyone know, I used to be a kind of not a big fan, but somewhat of a fan of Donald Trump when I was younger. When I was in high school, right before I graduated from high school and right before I went to the University of Oregon, I mailed Donald Trump a letter. So this is before the Celebrity Apprentice, obviously many years, probably 20 years before he became president. I sent him a letter. I'm saying, in a nutshell, that I was a fan of his and that I was just asking for advice. And surprisingly, he wrote back to me, or not him personally, but he had his secretary write me a letter, and I asked advice what I should do. So his secretary wrote me a letter saying that and it was really cool because it was on official Donald Trump letterhead. I wish I no longer have that letter, but I kind of wish I would have kept it. But I lost it through the years. But I wrote this letter in 1994. So now we're looking at about 26 years ago. So yeah, I lost it through the years. But he wrote back, and his secretary told me that Donald Trump's advice was to keep your goals focused, which I thought that was pretty good advice. And it's really nice of him to write me back a letter. So I was very surprised about that. Because I've written a few other people letters. I wrote a letter to Michael Jordan one time. Never got a letter back, but he did return some basketball cards signed and some posters or stickers that I got from him. Wrote a letter to David Robinson, former NBA player, and he kept the basketball play. He never sent anything back. So very nice of Donald Trump to write me a letter back. But yeah, I love this picture because I'm the only thing I'm jealous of Donald Trump. I'm jealous he's got nice teeth for someone that old. So I wish I had nice teeth like that, but maybe someday. Okay, so first background Donald Trump. $413 million inheritance. He tries to tell the world that he's a self-made billionaire. But actually, he got almost $500 million inheritance from his father when he passed away. So Fred Trump, he was also into real estate, and he got a huge inheritance. And also coming from his niece was supposedly, she wrote a book this past year, and she wrote a book about how he kind of sneakily took the inheritance from his father. Got him to when he was sick, got him to sign over his inheritance to him and not everyone else in the family. So this is his niece, and so her father got saying that he got left out of the inheritance. So, but that's according to what she says. Next, failed casinos and bankruptcies. So Donald Trump, of course, he's known for his real estate, a background in real estate. but also in on the East Coast. He had some failed casinos and a few bankruptcies. Not a few, but quite a few. And his casinos, they were somewhat successful in the beginning, but eventually he had to basically get out of the casino industry. In the early 80s, he held some famous fights, boxing matches at his casino. I know Mike Tyson fought there a few times, but he wasn't very successful in casinos. Next, corruption. Okay, so there are reports. He's not convicted of any crime. But there have been some documentaries about corruption, about how some Russian oligarchs had potentially funneled money through his real estate. So they bought some apartments in cash, and that may have been a way to launder money. But nothing has been proven. But that's always been an allegation. Also, another allegation is with his when he would do construction, he would get like a whenever he'd build a new building, he'd hired like a general contractor or subcontractors to do work, and he would sometimes not pay them money. So they do all this work. Let's say they put in all this glass for his building, and then he just wouldn't pay him, knowing full well that these companies they couldn't afford a lawyer to try to get that money back. And so a lot of people, it's been reported, a lot of small businesses they had to close shop because of this. Celebrity Apprentice. So this is where he was a kind of a TV star, not a movie star. He did appear in a few movies. But he kind of bullied his way into these movies where, for example, in Home Alone and some other movies, they wanted to use some of his hotels to shoot the movies, or some of his land to shoot the movies, and they go, okay, sure, but only if I'm in the movie. So that's one of the reasons why he's in Home Alone, was because they filmed part of the movie there. But he is a bona fide. I wouldn't say he's not a movie star, but he is a bona fide TV star through Celebrity Apprentice. And he actually just recently, he just left SAG, so the Screen Actors Guild. It's kind of like a union for those people in show business. And it's kind of funny how they were inquiring about possibly expelling him from SAG, from this union. And then right before, this is kind of typical Donald Trump, was that right before they were going to expel him, he quit the guild. So yeah. And next, so narcissist and combative. So it's been reported that Donald Trump is a narcissist. Now, narcissist, that's kind of a big word, but what it means is, so if let's say, for example, if I'm a narcissist, which I'm not, but if I say I am, then I have the attitude of saying, like, I am wonderful. There's no one better than me. No one can do what I can do. So that's what a narcissist is. And if you look at some of his speeches, for example, when he was going through his first campaign in 2016, he said, "I alone can fix it. All of the problems in America, I alone can fix it." Well, nobody alone can fix 100% of all a country's problems. It's got to be everyone working together to fix the problems. So but in a nutshell, that's what a narcissist is, and that's what a lot of people that know him very well, some of his former aides, some of the people that have worked in his cabinet, and even family members have labeled him as a narcissist. Okay. Now we're gonna discuss the 2016 presidential election. So I remember very clearly when this happened, because leading up to it, I was like, no way Trump would win. I mean, sure, Hillary, I personally couldn't stand her, because she's just not a likable candidate. But Donald Trump, some of the things he said going through the election about different people, different minority groups, I thought was totally wrong, because that's not what America is about. America is about bringing people together. But what he did very well during his first term was he did a very good job of kind of creating this big divide in America. But during the campaign, that's the biggest thing was you had certain people, they love Hillary or they hated her. Same thing with Trump. Some people loved him, but some people hated him. So it's like a lot of people, they're like, well, then who do we vote for? Okay, so first thing about the presidential election is kind of what I alluded to, was that we had two flawed candidates. So both parties, they did a horrible job in selecting a candidate, because you have Hillary, the people who liked her loved her, but the people who didn't like her hated her. I'm one of them. It's just she didn't come across as very likable. I voted for Obama. Okay, and then before that, I voted for I voted for Gore during the first during Bush's first campaign, and then I voted for, when I was in high school, I voted for Clinton. But just for some reason, Hillary, she's just not likable for me. I should say. Same thing with Trump. So I did not vote in that election. So many people consider Trump to be wealthy, although that can be debatable, because he even said himself that he became very successful in using debt. So it's kind of wondering. Many people wonder is how rich or how wealthy or successful is Donald Trump, and he did not pay for his campaign. His campaign was financed by the taxpayers. Next, Trump did not expect to win. Okay, so many people don't realize this, but a few people have come out and said they didn't expect, and one of them was Howard Stern. He came out and said which he was friends with him at the time, and actually Trump had asked him to announce. I guess at the Republican National Convention wanted him to announce him as the candidate. Of course, he declined, because he actually ended up supporting Hillary Clinton. But he even said that he didn't think Donald Trump was actually going to win. I believe what really happened was Donald Trump wanted to do this PR campaign, because his number one goal was to build a hotel in Moscow. So that was his golden egg. But he thought of a way if he ran for president, he came in as a close second, then he could get that golden egg by building a hotel in Russia. But that didn't end up happening because he won. Okay. Next, so Russian collusion. So I'm not sure about this. This was investigated for many years during his campaign, if he received, or if he was working together with Russian agents to help him win the election. I have no idea about this, but during the I guess he was investigated, and they came to the conclusion that there was no evidence that this occurred, although they can't say definitively that it didn't happen. They just didn't have definite evidence that this happened, that either he or people in his campaign may have worked together with the Russians or with certain Russian agents to help him win the election. Lastly, it's the perfect storm. So you had leading up to the election, Hillary was winning, but then right before the election, she was investigated by the FBI for the missing 30,000 emails. Then Trump rode that wave of popularity, and he in reality he won just enough of the states that he needed to win, and he barely won many of those states. So even though he got over 300 electoral college votes, some of those states' victories was just razor thin. So he won just enough states to win the election. And then you had, it has been documented by the intelligence community that Russia did help Trump win. Of course, they don't know if Trump was involved in this, but the Russians did interfere in the election process to help Donald Trump win. And then, of course, Hillary being investigated by the FBI for the missing emails, and it turned out to be that there was no missing emails. So yeah. So now, what is Trumpism? So if you look at the crowd here, you can see that a lot of white people, and even if you can look on YouTube, you look some of his rallies, there's a lot of white people. Now Trumpism. So this is not me saying this. This is in reference to academics. Was that it's a response to, when I say WWC, this is not a wrestling organization. So this is the white working class. So it dates all the way back to 1964. So you have this certain class of working class of Americans who happen to be white. They kind of feel left out. So just previous generations during World War II, you had they grew up with their parents. They grew up in a very good condition. They didn't necessarily need to go to university to get a good job, but they graduated. They finished high school during World War II. They get a job at the mill or at the factory or mining, but they had a good life. So they had a house, they had cars, but then in from 1964 to 1968, that life was kind of missing. They were kind of looking around, and they realized, hey, well, why don't I have the stuff that they have? And so that's kind of where this started. Obviously, it's a lot many. 3 or 4 decades before Trump got into politics, but that's where this is rooted. You had the white working class; they feel left out of why don't they have a good life like the people that maybe live in their neighborhoods? So they kind of look around. So why are they being left out? 2, alienated white voters. Okay, so you go to these rallies, and especially. And we'll talk about this later, towards the end of this session about the protests or the riot at Capitol Hill. You see a lot of angry white voters that feel left out. They're saying about they want to go after Vice President Pence. They want to go after Speaker Pelosi, which is it's just crazy. So you have Pence and Pelosi. They're just doing their job, trying to count the votes. But you see a lot of these alienated white voters that they feel left out. So they see somebody like Trump saying, "Hey, I can fix this." So like, okay, yes, I'm gonna follow you. Next thing, "Make America Great Again." So this was Trump's slogan about "Make America Great Again." So that this kind of connected with them, where they looked at their parents' generation or their grandparents' generation of how maybe they had a good life. They had a home, they had a good job, good car, good family, kids went to a good school, but now they're just barely making it. Build that wall. So this is one of his big campaign promises, was he was going to build a wall that separates along the American-Mexican border. Didn't really happen though. He tried very hard. He tried to divert funds from different places to pay for this wall, but the majority of the wall that was built during Trump's first term was actually just to replace old wall that had already been in place. So this is one of his failures during his campaign, and this is a big promise where he said, "Oh, we're going to build a wall," and then oh yeah, and then we won't pay for it. We're going to make Mexico pay for it. And well, how are you going to force another country to build a wall on your land? And then, so yeah, anyways, it didn't happen. Another concept, so this is called horizontal versus vertical America. So horizontal means going like this, vertical going like this. So how America started, it was originally a horizontal America where it was kind of like the land of opportunity, where you had all this stuff you can spread out. You know, you could have a house, you can have a good job, you can have a good car, your kids can go to a good school. But vertical America, it's all about moving up like this. Okay, so certain people can get certain things. So Trump and some of his big donors, he got them some tax cuts, so that helped them, but it didn't really help America as a whole. And so that's the difference between horizontal versus, think of it as collectivism versus individualism or like groupism. So in vertical America, only certain people benefit, not everybody, versus horizontal America is where everybody benefits. All right. Next, the origins of Trumpism. So this is going to be kind of related to what is Trumpism. Okay. Origins of Trumpism. Okay. Racism. Okay. So this is where you have some alienated white voters feel left out. In previous generations, they had a good life, but now not so much. Next, so economic vulnerabilities. Okay, so again, so they're looking around. Maybe they're, let's say, their high school friends or their coworkers or their neighbors. They look around. They are prospering. Okay, but they themselves are having difficulties. Are having economic vulnerabilities. So this is another area where the origin of Trumpism came about. Next, replace Obamacare. For some reason, and this has been reported by those former aides, is that Trump, he hated Barack Obama. He hated him. And so anything that had anything to do with Obama, he wanted to replace. So his idea was that he wanted to repeal and replace Obamacare. So he did get rid of parts of Obamacare, and he almost got rid of all of it, but the Supreme Court voted against him. And so it was the remnants of Obamacare was saved, and reporters would constantly ask, okay, so where's this new healthcare plan? He always, 2 more weeks, or another month. But it never. He never had a plan. He just wanted to get rid of anything related with Obama. Another thing is immigration. So this is what I was really disgusted with Trump. When he came out and announced his campaign in maybe 2015, I was really disgusted with what he said. He said basically that when Mexico sends their people to America, they're not sending the best. What they're doing is they're sending rapists and murderers. So that's one thing that I could not stand about him. And that's and then also at the borders, he also had a policy of people trying to get into America through like political asylum. They would separate kids from their parents, and in some cases, parents have been lost from their kids. Kids have been lost, and they haven't been able to bring families and their children back together again because of this horrific policy. And another thing is job creation. He was saying, Trump was saying about how he would basically make America great again. But many people, but what Trump didn't, I don't know if he didn't realize this, or maybe he just wanted to believe his own facts. But when at the end of the Bush administration, the economy was in shambles, and people were losing their jobs, and many of it had to do with the financial crisis, with the dealing with mortgage, with what they called the subprime loans. But then Obama came in, and then slowly but surely, the economy got back on track. And I'm not saying that the economy got back on track because of Obama. I'm a firm believer that in order for an economy to strive, small businesses need to thrive. I'm just saying that maybe Obama set the policies in place that allowed the economy to recover. But if you look at the economy and the job creation, it was like this during the end of the Bush administration. Then when Obama came in, it was going like this, and then Trump came in, it was still going like this. So I don't think that Trump can take full credit for that. I personally think he was just continuing on from Obama's trend. Okay, next we're going to talk about is the future of Trumpism. Okay, so you're looking at here. If you look at this picture, looking like a candle's burning, and then so what's going to happen when this candle finishes? Trump's gone. I don't know what's going to happen. But and now there's talk of some Republicans. Well, some Republicans have prominent Republicans like Joe Scarborough. He's a host of Morning Joe on MSNBC. He was a lifelong Republican. He's a former Republican congressman from Florida. He left the Republican Party. Then there's also reports that some prominent Republicans, they want to start their own political party to get away from the current Republican Party. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the future of Trumpism. Okay, so this is the scene at the siege at Capitol Hill, where the Trump supporters kind of took over, and then this one right here. This is I believe it's a senator from Missouri, but here he is. He's saluting the rioters before they take over Capitol Hill, and so this is during the time when they were trying to, I guess, finally verify the votes for the Trump versus Biden election. Okay, and this right here, this is just crazy. So, so supposedly some protesters came, and some of them didn't have an agenda. They just wanted to come along for the ride. Others supposedly did have an agenda. There was some speculation that some people that they wanted to kidnap and hang Pence, and also kidnap Pelosi. So I know that there were, if you watch some of the videos on YouTube, you have people saying, "Where is she? Where is she? Where is Pelosi?" So they were actually looking to find her. And then you had pictures like this. See here. Next one is you have people, they actually come with, zip tie handcuffs. So as if they were going to try to kidnap some people. So kidnap some lawmakers and do God knows what. Okay, so the future of Trumpism. Okay, right now we're finishing up the second impeachment. So the House, they impeached Trump in record time. Now the Senate deciding to, I guess, evict him, even though he's already left office. But I think what's going to happen is the Republicans, they want to keep their jobs, and so they're going to vote against it. They came out and said that it's unconstitutional because he's already left office. Well, when he was impeached, he was still in office. But it's not unconstitutional. I mean, they have a process for this. So, but in the end, these Republicans, they're going to want to keep their jobs, so they'll vote against it. Okay, I believe, and many people believe, that Trump, he's going to look for a new platform. It's been no secret that he's been anti Fox News for the past 8 8-9 months, because they don't love him the way they used to. And so I think he's going to look for a new platform to voice his opinion, and also in order to make money. So my own personal feeling is I think he's going to go for a streaming service. So he's going to I think what he's going to end up doing is he's going to charge his followers $5 to $6 a month to view his content online, and he's gonna still end up making money, because I think Trump only does basically if Trump does something, he only does it for Trump. If it doesn't benefit him, he's not going to do it. And then we have the political and economic catastrophe. So this was pretty much a political catastrophe. I couldn't believe this leading up to him leaving office, the way he encouraged those to storm Capitol Hill and take action the way some of them did. And economic catastrophe, I really believe that if he did have a second term, it would have been disastrous for America. And this is going off of what former Joint Chief of Staff, Colin Powell, what he said was he was saying we could survive a one-term Trump, but we couldn't survive a two-term Trump. So he would have caused too many problems, not only in America, in dividing America, but then also in destroying the alliances that America's built up over the years with different countries. So politically speaking, Trump was disastrous. Economic, it could have been a lot more disastrous than it was, especially to his response to the coronavirus. He was pretending like it never happened, and then downplaying it, and then with the vaccine rollout, oh my God, it was ridiculous. So you had Pfizer and Moderna. They waited until after the election to release its results. I don't know if that was on purpose, but since he wasn't gonna get credit for it, he's not gonna worry about the vaccine rollout. And so now it looks like things are going a lot better with the rollout, with the vaccine, at least in America. For those people in America, I'm not, so I probably won't get one. But it looks like things are going a little more smoothly than they were about a month ago. And so embrace Trump supporters. So in order to minimize the effect of Trumpism, is that there needs to be a way to embrace the Trump support. I'm not saying not all Trump supporters. Anybody can vote for whoever they want to. And half of them, probably 40, almost 50% of America voted for Trump. Not quite 50, but maybe 45 to 49% voted for Trump. But what I'm talking about is the people that you see, those people that attacked Capitol Hill, is that we need to find something, some way to encourage these people to not to be against society, not to attack Capitol Hill, but for a way to bring these people back into society. So give them hope. So there needs to be some sort of better preparing them for their futures. So give them good either job training or something. Okay, I don't have the answers. So I'm just a university professor, but there needs to be some sort of programs to bring these people back, to have them be productive members of society. Okay. All right, and so that's about it. Okay, and here are the references, and I'll be sure to post these references in the down below in the section. But yeah, what I want you guys to do, go down to the comment section and tell me what do you think the future of Trumpism is. Okay, yeah, because and then also if you guys get a chance here, please view Ajarn Eddie on these other social media sites. All right. Well, thank you very, very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.